Now, this morning with me is no stranger to me and no stranger to some people here as well, Jeremy Joseph. He is a facilitator for the Smart Recovery Program. Good morning, Jeremy, and welcome.
Morning, Carrie. Thank you very much.
Thanks for being here this morning. I'm very excited to speak about this because it's something that is now being made available in Trinidad and Tobago. So tell me first, what is the Smart Recovery Program? Okay.
Smart Recovery is a mutual support program that provides training and tools for anyone with addictive behaviors.
What type of addictive behaviors are we talking about?
Okay, so it could be with regard to substances like drugs, alcohol, nicotine, or it could be in terms of things that we do like sex, eating, gambling. So any form of addictive behavior, the mutual support groups, anyone can come to any meeting, they're free to attend, yeah.
Now, you said any type of addictive behavior, or so aside from drug abuse, alcohol abuse, and things like that, even behaviors such as gambling and sexual addictions. How does one even go about coming out of that addictive behavior?
Okay, a couple of ways. So one of the things that in the kind of background to like smart recovery would be the cycle of change. So ultimately it would be some form of change, and there would need to be some trigger for change. The way that SMART approaches things is from a self-empowerment philosophy. So SMART is all about choice, and it says if we can choose an addictive behavior, we can choose to change that behavior and behave differently. And the way that it approaches things is with a 4-point program.
4-point program?
4-point program. So even the meetings that we have, which are like 90 minutes long, and facilitated by trained facilitators, will follow a 4-point program. So what that looks at is building and maintaining motivation. So what's your motivation for change? It would then look at coping with urges. So if you're in the process and you get urges and triggers, how do you cope with that? It looks at thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. So really how do we problem solve and deal with things, when we get events that activate a thought that leads to beliefs and behaviors, how do we manage that better? And then living a balanced life. So SMART is really structured around a 4-point program.
Now, when I think about it, it sounds difficult to, for someone who has addictive behaviors, with the other types of programs to help people out, there's usually some sort of buddy system.
Right.
So how is it that you could self-motivate and self-empower to, get yourself out of this addictive behavior?
Okay, so you're quite right. The Smart Recovery does not use sponsors and sponsees and buddies, etc. The way that it works is we start weekly meetings, and then we start from the outset. We try to maintain continuity, so that from week to week, so they're weekly meetings, week to week, you get a group of people who all come together that have understanding of the kinds of things and challenges that people might be going through. How do you start to build motivation? Is Smart will use a particular number of tools. So for example, one of the tools might be a cost-benefit analysis, CBA, where you look at whatever you're using or your behavior is, and you think, what's the cost of doing that? And then you think, okay, what are the benefits of doing that? Or the other way around, benefits and costs. Doing it now, you think about, okay, if I wasn't doing that, what would be the benefits? What would be the costs and stuff? You then think about which of those, if you look at the costs, are those short-term or long-term? Typically what happens is that the benefits are very short-term and the costs are very long-term. And that helps people when they look at it on balance, start thinking, actually, this is not in my long-term interest. The kind of person I want to be or the kind of way I want to live my life is not consistent with using, and therefore let me start to make changes.
Wow. Sounds like a lot. Sounds like quite the process. You said earlier that there are trained facilitators.
Correct.
How are these facilitators trained?
Training happens online. It takes about 28 hours. And so one of the reasons that I'm here is to start the meeting. So we've started one SMART meeting, which was on Tuesday, which was in Port of Spain. The idea is that by the time I leave, in about 3 weeks' time, that we'll have 5 meetings up and running. So we need facilitators who are outside of Port of Spain.
Right.
Ideally in Tobago as well. Tobago, I love Tobago, as you know. And then people to attend. So training is online, it takes about 28 hours. And the idea is that they start training now. Each week I'll facilitate meetings wherever they are around the country. So if you're thinking of that you might want to facilitate a meeting or start a meeting in the area, I will come and facilitate. You start training, come with me. By the last week, hopefully you will then lead that meeting and complete training, and then SMART's in Trinidad.
Any requirements to become a facilitator?
No specific requirements. Really, it is about the motivation to want to help people. Many of the people that do facilitating for Smart Recovery have either been through Smart Recovery or have had an addictive behavior and have come out of it. So one of the things that I said no, but actually there is one thing, and that is that you're in a place where you're managing your recovery in a way that you feel comfortable to be able to facilitate groups and help others.
Okay, that sounds fantastic.
Yep.
Now, Jeremy, how do we get into contact with you? Like, say, for instance, somebody wants to attend one of these meetings or become a facilitator. How do we get in contact?
Okay, so the way you do that is to email smartrecoverycaribbean@gmail.com. If you were interested in just finding out where the meetings are as they evolve, you can call 627-8213. So those are the two main ways.
All right. Well, Jeremy Joseph, I want to thank you for joining us this morning and sharing all this that you have on the Smart Recovery Program, and it is here in TNT.
It is here now.
At long last.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing with us this morning.
My pleasure. I've not had so much fun in 6 minutes in a long time.
There's a lot you can do in 6 minutes, Jeremy.
Right.
Right, Carrie? That's what we do.